Okay, so first topic today, this is kind of part two to our discussion of adding attributes to blocks. So I'm going to continue with that. And last time we met, we had a really in-depth conversation about how to add attributes to a block. And so I'm going to go through it rather quickly today. And the two things I'm going to talk about, number one, how to draw the block, how to add the attributes, and then specifically for something like a door tag like this, I'm going to show you how to create this door tag, how to work through that. And then we're actually going to talk about title blocks, because title blocks are a block and there's going to be attributes in your title block as well. Okay. All right, so let's talk about adding attributes into a block. I'm going to redraw this door for you, and then we're going to add some attributes. Okay. So this file was one we were working with last time, but really you could just start a blank drawing and change your units to architectural, and that would be a good working file for you. So I'm going to go to home. I'm going to make sure I'm on layer 0. I'm going to draw my block. So I'm going to click on line, and this is a 36-inch door. We'll make the panel 1.5 inches. There we go. There's my door panel. I'm on layer 0, of course, for my block. Oops, C-I-R-C-L-E, circle. There we go. I'm going to create my circle. L for line. Draw my line and trim out my circle. So TR, enter, enter. We've talked about how I like to create doors. I don't like to use arc. It's not my favorite tool, right? So whatever works for you. If you like arc, it's a valid way of going about it. All right, so I've created my door here, and if I wanted to add some attributes to this door, I could. Okay, so we're going to do that in the form of, I'm going to create a door tag. Okay, so the way that we're going to finish up this door block with the attributes in it, I've created this door. I'm going to make it into a W block. Okay, and then I'm going to create the door tag, and this door tag has attributes in it, and I'm going to make that a block. And then I'll have a door block, and I will have a door tag block with attributes, and I'm going to use those two together to kind of complete this door here. Okay. Now, attributes in the case of a door, attributes are going to be information about that door. So when I'm going to explode this door tag right here. When I look at this door tag, attributes that this door tag have that relate to this door, those are going to be door numbers. We have door material, and we have door size. Okay. If I had created a window block, things that I would add into the attributes would probably be the window number or window letter, the window material, window size, right? Whatever applies to that specific block. We're going to be creating a title block today, and in that title block, we're going to have things like course number, assignment number, scale. Okay, so really the attributes are fairly generic. You can apply them to anything, and you just make them specific to that item. Okay, so I've created my door here, and I'm going to turn it into a W block. All right, so I can type WB at the command line. I can also go to Insert and create block, W block. Okay, pick point, click there, select objects, enter. I browse out to where I want that block to live. So this is going to be block library. This is going to be A-door-36IN, 36 inches. Save, okay, and I've just made this into a block. Wonderful. Okay. The second part of this is that I want to have some attributes that live within that block. Okay. So there's a slight change in workflow that has occurred in AutoCAD, and I just want to clarify that. So the way that we used to deal with this block is that we used to draw the door, we used to draw the door tag, and then we added the attributes, and then we created a W block. Okay, they were all one piece. And that was really nice because when I inserted the door, automatically the attributes, they activated, and I can input information for them. So I would insert the W block, and it would immediately say, what is the door number? What is the material? What is the size? All that good stuff. Okay. So what was good about that system is that the door tag was built into the door, all right? What was bad about that system is that with that door tag being built into the door, I then wasn't able to use the annotative qualities of AutoCAD to make the door tag number flex to be the right size when I change scale. Okay, so it was nice in its simplicity, but now we have the annotative workspace in AutoCAD, and so we have to work this just ever so slightly differently than we used to. So now we have to create one W block, okay, for the door. We have to create a second W block for the door tag, and we're going to make this door tag annotative so that the text inside of it, when we change the scale of our drawing, it flexes with that. Okay. All right, so I have one block here. I'm going to create my second block, which is going to be my door tag, and that's going to have attributes in it. So let me do that now. Okay. I'm going to create my circle, and I'm going to draw a line from that point right there on my door to, I'm going to do perpendicular here. This command that I'm doing right now, right? So this is a shortcut that I use all the time. I don't know if I've pointed this out to you all, but when I excuse me, when I clicked on line, I clicked on my endpoint, and then I shift right click, and what that does is it brings up the snap menu, okay? And this will allow me to choose one object snap to use, and only that object snap will be displayed for one movement only. Okay, why is that helpful? It's helpful because, let me just show you what's going on. Right now, if I object snap, I could get nearest. I could potentially get endpoint. I'm not getting midpoint. There's midpoint, which is actually what I wanted. Okay, but I have several different object snaps that could appear. If I only want to have one object snap happen, shift, right click, I could choose something like midpoint or perpendicular. And now, do you see how wherever I kind of go on that line, I only get midpoint popping up? Okay, so that shift right click, when I'm in a drawing command, that will allow me to only allow one object snap to pop up. Okay, I'm super picky about my drafting now these days, right? When you've done it for a long time, you'll start to recognize why that's helpful. Okay, I don't want 50 different object snaps popping up. I just want one. So I click. I'm going to draw my circle in the middle of that line. So circle. Now, just to clarify, this door has already been created into a W block, right? So I'm not really using the door in this block the new block I'm creating, which is the door tag. I'm just using it as a reference, okay? So maybe I make this, there we go. That looks about right. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to delete that. Okay, so I have my door tag placed, the circle at least. Now it's time for me to add my attributes. So I'm going to go back to Insert, Define Attributes. And we talked about this last time. The first attribute that I define will be visible, okay? And we're going to have to define the text settings. And subsequent ones after that will all be, we'll check this invisible box right here, okay? So the first tag I'm going to do is the door number, and the tag should not have any spaces in the title of it. The prompt, door space number, and the default we can put the number sign. Okay, so our text settings, our justification, we want that to be middle center in this case, because I want my tag to be right in the middle center of that little mark right there. So middle center. My text that I'm going to be using, we made this last time. It's our attribute text, and it's 3/32 of an inch tall, right? That's a text style. If you hadn't created that, that would not show up in the list, okay? So you have to create that. I want my text to be annotative. That's the whole reason we're creating this door tag separate from the door. We want it to be annotative, okay? I'm going to hit, these look good. I'm going to hit OK, click the center of that tag, and I've just placed my attribute, okay? So I'm going to create another attribute. So define attribute. My second one will be invisible because I only want the door number to show. My second one is going to be, let's say, door material. Prompt, door space material. Default, we'll just do a little dash dash so that we can input what we want. Okay, justification, middle center. Text style stays the same, it's annotative. Now, instead of placing the text at the center of the door tag, I'm just going to click this align below the previous attribute definition. I'm going to hit OK, and it automatically places it where it needs to go. Okay, one more, define attribute, invisible, let's do door size, no space, door size, prompt, door size, default, dash dash, okay. And this, we don't need to specify our text because we just click align below previous attribute and it's invisible. And I'm going to hit OK, and I have my third attribute, all right. Now, I could go on, right? I could have 30 attributes. And the idea of an attribute is that when I place that block, I can type information into those attribute fields, and then that information is stored within that block, right? That's specific to that door. And then later on in the process, I can extract that information out into a schedule, all right? All right, so now it's time to make this, this door, I'm gonna do one quick thing. I'm gonna change my, my annotative workspace here to 1-to-1, sorry. My text flexed, which means that the annotative quality of it is working, right? It's really easy to look at this and say, oh my gosh, it didn't work, something is happening, right? But that is exactly what it needs to look like, essentially, okay? Again, it's going to flex because our scales flex. So the text needs to be the right size. Oop, see, huge for 1/8 inch. Let's take it down to 1/4, yep, right? But that's what it's meant to do. It's meant to flex with the size and scale of your drawing. Okay, if one of them happened to be done incorrectly, I could just click on it and I can hit delete, and I could create another attribute in its place, right? If something didn't work in this attribute, click on it, delete it, create a new one. Easy, easy, right? Okay, so I have my attributes created. I have my circle here created. Everything looks great. And now it's time for me to create this block. Okay, I'm going to change this just to a 1/2 scale. I don't think anything should go wrong if I have it at a 1/2 scale, hopefully. But I'm going to create this into a door tag block now, a W block. All right, so I'm going to click on right block and objects. Pick a insertion point. Click. A really good insertion point for a door tag would be kind of this endpoint on the door, because if I click there, it'll place it in the exact spot I want it to be at. So this is going to be my insertion point. Click. I'm going to select my objects. Okay, I'm going to select all of these things. Okay, so the circle and all 3 of those attributes. Not the door, just the attributes. All right, because the door is existing as a block by itself. I pick those. It looks terrible, but it's fine. That's kind of the attributes or the annotative quality going funny, right? I'm going to hit enter, and I'm going to choose where to save this block. Let's see, let's call this a-door tag. Save, okay. And immediately what we see happen is the second I make it into a W block, you see that my edit attribute dialog box pops up and they've activated, and it says, okay, great, door number, here's my prompt. Do you see that? Door number, there's my prompt. I can type in something like 3A. Great. Door material, solid wood, door size, 3 foot 0 inches by 6, or no, we'll do 7 foot 0 inches. Hit OK. All right. So now I have one block. I have a second block. Okay. And it's annotative. So I change this from 1/2 inch to 3/16. And look at that. The text flexes to whatever size it needs to be. Okay. I have to tell you how wonderful that is. It's beautiful. You guys are coming into AutoCAD at a wonderful time where things work and they change size when they need to. Not like we'll call it the dark ages when you had to manually do it all, right? Okay, so I've just created my door tag. Now when I want to use these two, okay, so for example, in your layout assignment, I would click on Insert, and in my gallery here I see them, but if they weren't in my gallery, okay, I can choose block, I can, go to Recent Blocks, and I can choose the one I want. So current drawing, recent, other, all right. I'm going to, this is a new feature, this tool palette doesn't feel quite right to me. You can use it, it's great way to use it. I tend to kind of prefer using the insert button, or I type I, enter. Oh, nope, it's going to a tool palette now. Sorry guys, that's new. Doesn't feel quite right. I'm just gonna stay over here with my gallery. So now I want to use this block, okay, and you see I've got my door, where is it? Or I should have my door. Oh, a door 36 inches, okay, click. Great, there's my door. Now, when it's time for me to use my door tag here, right, because every door needs a tag, insert, and I go down and I name it A-door tag, click, and you see how lovely it is now. I can just place it right there on that endpoint, click. It activates because it's a block and it has attributes defined, and I could say something like 4F, door material, hollow metal, and the door size. We'll just leave that blank. I'm going to hit OK, and there's my door. Okay. All right, so that works. The system works really well, right? Excuse me, you've probably all likely started on your office layout and the block assignment. Some of them are due, some of them are not. So you've created doors, and you've made them into blocks, and windows, and you've made them into blocks, and furniture, you made them into blocks, and that works, right? Really, you know, for the assignment where you create all of the blocks, you create the double door and the window and all that good stuff, right? I don't know if I said this last time, but I do want to point out, I'm going to move this over here real quick. We've got all these doors and things everywhere, right? I do want to point out that, you know, I've created one block here, I've created a door tag here, right? I do want to point out that I can explode this block and you can use it to create other blocks in your drawing as well, okay? So if I have a door tag here, I have a door block here, and I'm going to CO copy this over here, and I wanted to create a double door. I want to remind you that if you explode a block, it breaks it back down into its component parts, okay? So I can type in explode, or I can come up here to home and go to modify, click on the explode the door, enter, okay? And I could mirror it, MI, mirror, enter, select the door, enter, click, make sure my ortho's on, F8, so it mirrors straight, click, enter, oop, I forgot a little piece, and I have a double door now. Okay, I'm gonna draw my little line in there. And I can W block this double door, okay? This door tag, actually, it functions for this double door, right? It's generic, it can be used for any door. So I don't have to worry about creating another door tag. I just have to worry about making another door block. So I can type WB, W block, enter, pick point, click, select objects, click, grab those objects, enter, browse to where I want that block to live, and we will call this A-door double dash 72 IN. Save. Okay. Oh, what did I do? Convert to block? Well, that was odd. What did I do? Let's try that one more time. W block, pick point, select objects. There we go, enter. Okay. Oh, there's an equal sign in there, isn't there? That's weird. Not that I think, I don't know. A door double 72 inches, save. What I suspected had happened was if I had chose delete from drawing, it would have created the block and deleted the geometry. So I'm going to make sure that says convert to block, hit OK. And this time it didn't go away, so I don't know what happened last time. So now I have a double door, okay? And now if I want to get a left-hand door, or this is a left-hand door. If I want a right-hand door, I could take this and I could copy it over. I could explode it. Explode, I'm typing that. Enter. Select, enter. Okay. And I can mirror it. MI, enter. Select, enter. Click, click. And it says down here, erase the source object. Yes. Click on yes. And there's my door. Right? So really I only had to draw one door and create one door tag, and I was able to easily create the double door and, you know, both of those single doors essentially. Okay. Okay, so I have my single door and I can use the same tag on this one. All right. So I can grab this, and the insertion point isn't helping me. If I wanted to, I could well, maybe I could mirror this. Let me see if I can mirror it. I might not be able to. Mirror. Oh, it worked. There we go. Okay, great. I can mirror it. So I don't even have to create a new door tag. I was going to say do a left and right hand, but I don't have to. I can just mirror it, grab the little grip, move it over to there, and I have a tag for that as well. All right. If you want to get really fancy, okay, and this is some fanciness comes when you know what you're doing in AutoCAD, right? If you want to get really fancy, okay, we have a block. Oh, I didn't create this into a block. I should have. I'll use this one. I have a block and I have a block. Great. Okay. I have a block. I have a block. Great. These two don't exist together. Okay. If I wanted to, I could block this whole thing together. So I have a block, and then I could block them both together, which is called a nested block. Right now, I don't really see a reason to do that, but if you want to make it, you know, so they're all one piece, so that you bring in this block and this block at the same time, okay, I could reblock both of them together, and it would just essentially glue them together. So when inserted, I get a door tag and a door at the same time. Now, it saves time in you having to look for the door tag and the tag to insert, but I do have to, if I wanted to do that, I would have to explode that block in order for this attribute likely to work. Okay, but you do see that a lot of times professionally when you work. You'll have a block that has another block included with it, and they're both blocked together. They're nested. Okay. Okay, so we have our doors. Let's talk about getting those. I'll do one window for you, and then but let me talk about getting the other blocks that you need for your assignment. Okay, so I'm going to go into our AutoCAD here. And I'm going to go to modules, and we're going to look at this office layout, preview it. I want to talk about these little blocks here, the phone and the computer. Okay, you're not asked to draw those, but you will need them. Okay. So I'm going to show you where to find those. And in AutoCAD, it's called the Design Center. Okay, so there is actually an icon for it. Good luck telling, like me being able to tell you where it is. What's that? Oh, they could be in the, yeah, you're probably right. They could be in the CAD Common too. Let me just show you where the Design Center is though, within AutoCAD, because they do come. Somebody's probably exported them out from AutoCAD and put them on the CAD Common. But if you were just at home and were looking for blocks, you can use a place called the Design Center within AutoCAD, okay? And you can just start typing in Design Center. The shortcut is AD Center. Let me look for the icon. I'm suspect that might be under the insert. Let's Google it and see if we can find it. sheet manager, that's probably under views. Okay. View. Sheet manager. Oh, that's hidden. Look at that. I don't like that. Look how long it took me to find that. View, under view. And this little guy, which, I mean, I guess it makes sense. It's under a palette. I feel like it's easier just to type AD center. So if you type AD center, enter. Okay. We are brought here. And this is a tricky little space, although there's a lot of information in here that will be very helpful for you. Okay. So don't click on anything over here. Let me just, okay, we have to, it's not here by default. I'm going to just right now show you why this area is so, program files, Autodesk, ENUS. Oh, it's under sample. ENUS right there, I bet. Yes, okay. All right, so tricky. I think once we, I'm gonna post a screenshot of this in your canvas so that you know where it's at. Okay, oh, let me get this tool palette as big as I want. There we go. All right, so the Design Center, it is a place that's built into AutoCAD. It comes with the AutoCAD software where you can download blocks. They're already built for you, they're already drawn, okay, which is really nice. You can find them under Program Files, Autodesk, AutoCAD 2020, go all the way down to Sample, EN-US, and then you see Design Center right there, okay. I click on Design Center, and we get all of this stuff popping up. Now, I'm just going to give you a giant warning about this. If I click on anything else in here and I forget where this is, good luck finding it again, right? That's why I want to screenshot this so that you can find it, because it is, if you click on something else, it's so tricky to find. And anyway, it's really tricky to find. Let me just warn you about that, okay? So there's a lot of different blocks in here that are available for you to use. And the way that you're going to use these, let me get this the way I want it to look. The way these function is if you, for example, want to use the home space planner, okay? You see the home space planner has a bunch of blocks in it. It has a bed, a couch, you know, tables, great stuff to use. If I want to use this, I click and hold, I drag it into my drawing, I let go, and I click. Okay. When I click, I'm not done yet. I have to hit enter, enter, enter. So 3 enters, and then that block is brought into my AutoCAD space. You can use this in any AutoCAD drawing, okay? So this is a good example of a nested block, right? So somebody has drawn all of these. They have then taken all of them and made them into one large block for ease of use, okay? So if we want to break these apart, you're going to use the explode command. Click, select, enter, and it broke apart that big block that contained them all, but it maintained all of these individual blocks. So if you look close, there's your computer, right? There's your computer. Oh, there's the phone. Okay. There's a lot of, at least for architectural, there's several things you can use. You can use the home space planner. House designer, that's a good one for the architectural side. Click and hold, drag it over, click, enter, enter, enter. Okay, so we have toilets, we have doors, closet doors. I'm going to explode this. I'm going to select it and I'm going to hit explode. This will be really useful for your final project, hint, hint. This one, what is this one? Let's look at that one. Is that a chimney if I remember right? Oh no, bifold 60-inch opening. This one? I don't really feel like that looks like a bifold door open. Anyway, there's a lot of blocks, right? There's kind of a window block already created. I don't mind you using. Window sinks, there's a door right there. You could edit it if you needed to, but there's that one. And then we have kitchen here. Click, drag, click, enter, enter, enter. Right, there's a lot of good stuff here. Front of the dishwasher, there's a kitchen and floor plan view. I select it, I hit explode. I probably have 30 or 40 blocks now in this drawing, right? You could add them to your template file and they would always live there, and that'd be really helpful. Every class we always kind of get a laugh out of this now. Does anybody even have one of these? You do? I think we tore ours out in our remodel. We're like, we'll never use that again. It's a telephone jack, right? Anyway, AutoCAD still thinks it's important. So light switches, like a lot of good stuff here, right? So that is where you can find the stuff in that drawing that you don't need to draw, okay? So it's the AD center, which is the design center in AutoCAD. And I'm going to, once I finish with our video today, our lecture, I'm going to screenshot this for you so that you can find its location, because it's a pain in the neck to be able to find it just in general. Okay, any questions about any of that? The nice thing about these two is that, you know, if you have something in your drawing that is similar to this, okay, but it's similar but ever so slightly different. The nice thing about these blocks too is that you may not use them all, right? But I could come in here and say, oh, hey, look, there's a door block. I'm going to copy that over, CO. I'm going to explode it. And I could change it if I needed to, right? I could make this arc shorter or longer, do whatever I need to do, right? I could S for stretch, and I could stretch that out, right? And I could reblock it. So there is the ability to, if you're not using all of these, which may or may not happen, there is, you know, that capability, the ability for you to take them and alter them if you need to, okay? So there's 40 different starting points as well for other blocks that maybe you want to create. Okay, so we know how to create blocks, /W blocks. We know how to create any type of architectural block, right? You draw it the size it is on layer 0, you block it, right? We know how to create attributes within a block, okay? And the important part about an attribute is that you kind of draw the framework for it. In this case, the framework was that circle for the door tag. Then you add the attributes, you make them annotative, right? And you block it out. When you block it out, those attributes are saved in that block, and then when you insert it, they're activated, okay? Let's talk about now, I want to talk about title blocks, okay? And then after we talk about title blocks, I'm going to spend probably 20 minutes or so. I'm going to draw your office layout assignment, or some of it. I'm going to get it started so you can watch me do that, okay? Let's see, let's go over here. I'm going to talk about title blocks. So on this assignment, you'll see that we have a title block here around the assignment, around the drawing, right? So here's our floor plan. These double doors, that's a block. We have our door tag block there, right? We have this piece of furniture is a block, that piece of furniture is a block, the desk is a block, right? Each of those are drawn individually to size and W blocked out. We have dimensions. This window is a block. This window tag is a block, right? It's a window tag block that's annotative. So I'll talk about drawing that. But then the thing that surrounds it here is called a title block, all right? And a title block, you'll see them on any set of architectural drawings, right? So if I Google, you know, architectural drawing, images, right? You see there's a title block down there on the bottom of that page on the sheet. There's a title block on the right side of the sheet. This is probably the more typical way of seeing a title block. But essentially, a title block gives information about the project, okay? So that's why you'll see it on almost every single set of architectural drawings. So it gives you information about the, you know, in our case, we're in an educational setting, so your name, the college's name, the class's name, the scale of the drawing you're creating, what the title of the drawing is called, and then the date, right? In the professional world, you would see things like who is the architect or engineer here, what is the project name called, the date of the project number, what the sheet is called, like if it's a floor plan, an elevation, a section, a detail, that kind of thing, right? The address of the project, where it's located, so that subcontractors and consultants can go there, you know, and know where it's at and what city it's in and all that good stuff. But essentially, just information about the project is built into the title block, okay? And that's why you will see it on every architectural sheet, so that people know about the project. So I'm going to show you how to draw a title block. And really, let me just explain it. A title block is a block. It's a W block. Okay, so we're going to draw it to size. We are going to add some of these things as attributes. We're going to block it out, and then we're going to use it. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to draw one title block, and your assignment will be to draw 4 of them. But after you draw one, you can really use that one title block to draw the rest of your blocks. Okay, and we do want it to look like this. Okay, I'm going to go to assignments here. And let's see, title block. Been holding this one hostage for a while, huh? I keep getting Canvas notifications. Somebody's trying to access title blocks. And it was unpublished. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm going to open this one up. Okay, so you're going to create 4 title blocks. One that's 8.5 by 11 and is portrait. One that's 8.5 by 11 and is landscape. One that's 11 by 17 and is portrait, and the other is 11 by 17 landscape. Okay, let's see, here's an image. Let me preview that. This is what they're going to look like. So 8.5 by 11, you'll have a portrait, you'll have a landscape. 11 by 17, you have a portrait and you have a landscape. All right, and you're going to see here that it's a little, I mean, this is hard to see here, but it does have all of that information in there that we're going to need. Okay, so the sizes are going to be this dimension. So 8.5 by 11, that means that the outside boundary is 8.5 by 11. And 11 by 17, that means that the outside boundary is 11 by 17. Okay, all right. Now, I haven't drawn these for a whole semester, so I'm just going to, as I draw them, I'm going to guess a tiny bit, okay? But I think our guesses are going to, usually they work out pretty well for me. So let me get back to where I was at here. Okay, here we go. Now I'm gonna leave this drawing open, and I'm gonna open up a brand new drawing. Okay, this is blank, and I think that maybe a good practice, if you all are keeping up on your template files, which will be very helpful for you, this would be a good block to draw in your template file. All right, so all 4 of these title blocks, number one, you're going to likely use them on every project from now on. Okay, you're going to use them on your final project. Okay, and the intent of these is to create them one time in your template file. We're going to create 4 tabs and put them on the tabs, and then they'll help you print. All right, and I'm going to show you how to do that right now. Okay, so you would open up your template file. I don't have mine open because I don't have one that is very well generated. I'm going to make sure my units are architectural. There we go. I'm going to type units and hit enter. I'm going to make sure my precision, that looks good, 1/32. Okay. And I'm going to draw my title block now. Okay. So I'm going to start with the 8.5 by 11 inch one. And then I'll move from there. All right. So I'm going to draw the block first. Okay. And I think I've said this before, but I think, you know, for me, when I started assignments when I was in school doing this kind of technology, I think probably the first maybe 5 minutes of the assignment is the hardest, right? Sitting down at your computer, turning it on, opening up AutoCAD, and then thinking, what do I do now, right? How do I start? When I'm actually started, the drawing process is usually easy for everyone, right? But that getting started is difficult. So this assignment that you're going to be doing, that is going to be to create these title blocks, okay? I'm starting it now for you. So if you don't have your template file updated, you could start with a brand new blank file. If you do have your template file and you want to update it, open up your template file, okay? We're going to make sure we're in architectural either way. We're going to make sure that since we're drawing a block, a title block, that we are on layer 0, okay? And we're going to draw those title blocks. We're going to draw them here in model space. We're going to add attributes. We're going to W block them out. And that's really the process we're going to follow for creating these, all right? So I'm going to go to home. I'm on layer 0. I am going to use the line tool. And I'm going to click, move in the direction I want to go. I'm going to press F8 to get a straight line. 8.5, or no, we want 11. 11, and enter. 8.5, enter. I could have used rectangle. I could have used polyline, right? But I chose to use line. So I just drew an 8.5 by 11 inch rectangle, okay? All right, let me, I'm gonna split my screen here and so that we can see what these title blocks need to look like. It's lovely. All right, so I have my outline here, and the next thing I need to do is I need to draw this first of all, the 8.5 by 11 inch, that 8.5 by 11 is the outside edge of this paper, okay? So I then have to offset that dimension in to get this line, and then once I've done that, I have to draw this information block down here, okay? So I'm gonna take all of these and I'm gonna offset, O-F-F-S-E-T, enter. And that looks to me like about 1/2 inch, enter. And I'm gonna offset each of these lines. Now, if I'd used rectangle, this offset would have been a lot cleaner because those little, you know, crossed lines up there wouldn't have occurred, okay? I have those, I need to fix it, so I'm gonna trim, TR, enter, enter. And I just go around and I trim. Okay. Okay, so there is my outer line here and my inner line. The next thing I need to do is create this right here. This looks to be about 1 inch, and let me just say, I'm guessing, and I've done this several times, and so I generally know what this is supposed to be. If you're questioning what all these sizes are exactly, print this out. And may I point out, we have our printer back over here on the side. After 4 months of absence, there it is, right? So print this out and use a ruler to measure these things if you're questioning what the distances are, okay? I'm gonna guess 1 inch right here. So I'm going to offset, enter, 1, enter, click, click. Yeah, maybe it's a little, that might be 1/2 inch. Anyway, let's look and see what 1/2 inch would be. Offset, 1/2, enter. That probably looks a little bit more appropriate, right? So I'm going to delete that line. Okay. So this looks pretty good, okay? I want to just point out this border here goes all the way around, okay? Because I'm going to do a couple things in the next few moves that might look incorrect because it deletes some of the geometry that I actually need, but it's going to work out, okay? So the next thing I need to do is I need to fillet this corner here to get that rounded edge. I'm going to fillet that corner over there. So I'm going to, if you remember, fillet will allow you to round a corner. So I'm going to type F for fillet, enter, click on radius, click. My radius, I'm going to do 1/2 inch because that's what the width of this is. 1/2, enter, click, click. Oh, look how lovely that is, right? This is why I love drafting. I'm going to hit enter again, and that will reinitiate the fillet command. I don't have to type it again. And because I chose 1/2 inch for my radius previous, it just remembers that. So now I click, click, and I've got my other radius. And uh-oh, we're in trouble because my line then disappeared, right? Because when it filleted, it used that to create this arc. So now I just have to I have to draw another line. Okay, so I'm going to do L for line, enter. Okay, you see me using keyboard shortcuts all the time. I hope I don't move too quickly, but That's why I prefer the keyboard. I don't like to take my mouse all the way up here, click on line, and come all the way back down, right? L, enter. Click, click, enter. Because enter reinitiates the command. I don't have to even hit L. I just hit enter, click, click, enter. All right, looks wonderful. Now I need to create a section here and a section here. And if I remember right, I think this right here is like 1.5 inches. And I think this right here is about 3 inches. So I'm gonna guess that. So how do I get that line? Well, I could use the from command, but something even easier would just be to offset this line 1.5 inches. Offset. 1. Now let me show you, I think I've talked about this before, but instead of typing 1 dash 1/2 for 1.5, I'm going to type 1.5, okay, 1.5. And when I'm in architectural units, that means 1.5 inches, okay? I don't want to confuse you and make you think that I'm typing in decimal inches, because I'm not, okay? Because I'm in architectural units, I can type 1.5, and that gives me 1.5 inches, okay? 1.5, enter. I'm going to offset this line. And you think, oh no, that's wrong, because look at all this extra line that's up there, right? Well, it's okay, we'll trim it off. TR, enter, enter. Escape. Crisis averted, right? Okay. So now I need to do this line right here. I could offset this one, but I don't remember what this dimension is. I think this one's 3 inches, so I'm going to do that. Offset, enter, 3 inches, enter. Click, click. That looks about right. Escape. I'm going to trim it. TR, enter, enter. Looks pretty good. Right? AutoCAD isn't hard to learn. All the commands, they're not difficult, right? I've said this before. It's learning how to use them all together, right? And realizing that, you know, probably if you were on your own and you offset that and saw all that extra line up there, you would have thought, oh, that's wrong. It's too much line, right? But we trim it off and it's right, and it works. Okay, now I need to draw this line right here, okay? And there's a couple ways I could do it. I could offset this line halfway to there. That's a great way of doing it. I could take a line and draw it from here over to there, although it's hard to kind of place it on this arc, okay? So if I offset it, I'm going to use trim to get rid of the extra pieces. But I want to show you another way of going about it. And let me say this, one way is not more correct than the other, okay? So L for line, enter. I could draw a line all the way across here, click, escape. Because if I draw a line and I tried to get it all the way over to here, it would not be straight, right? Because I couldn't quite get that point on that arc. So I'm going to use extend. EX, enter, enter. And see how it extends it over, and I don't need to worry about where that happens. Okay? Now I need to draw a line that is halfway between here and here. So if I had drawn one line, stop, one line, stop, extend. Okay, I could have used midpoint on here to draw a line, but I didn't do that. And so now my midpoint is actually right here. Okay, I'm going to use M2P to get that in between line here. So L for line, enter. Specify the first point. Well, shift right click, mid between 2 points. Click once, click twice, click a third, there we go. Okay, there we go. I also could have used distance, and I could have measured between here and there and split the distance in half in my mind, and then offset this line, that distance, but that's too much math. I don't like that, right? I'm not an engineer. So I use the M2P to not have to do that. All right, so now it's time for me, I've got my title block and it looks great, right? I have the outline of it. Now it's time for me to add the text, and that text is going to come in the form of a combination of text and attributes, okay? So let me just say, I think that a good rule of thumb is something that won't change doesn't need to be an attribute, okay? So for example, your name likely won't change, so that's not going to be an attribute. That can just be text, okay? Salt Lake Community College, this is the project. For us, it's not going to change, but you know, if you're working on other stuff, maybe it does change. So maybe this is an attribute and it says project name. Arch 1310, class number, name of project, office layout, scale, and then the date, right? All those things will change. So those can all be attributes. And in fact, if you were working with another person, if there were two of you in your office working, the name might even be an attribute because, hey, you know, maybe you work on it one time and they work on it the next, okay? So I think I'll probably make these a combination of text and attributes just to illustrate that for you, right? So you can see both ways. But if you want to do just attributes or whatever, that's fine with me. Okay. So this is a new blank drawing. I don't have text in here created, but if you'd used your template, you likely would. So I'm going to come up to annotate, and I'm going to create a new text style here. And I'm going to click on new, and this is going to be called annotative underscore, we'll do 3:30 seconds. Oop, 3/30 seconds. Okay. I fell into that trap last time, didn't I? 3:30 seconds. Okay. So we're going to click annotative. We're going to give it whatever font. We'll do good old City Blueprint so we can see the difference. Annotative, we want it to be, the paper height is 3/30 seconds of an inch. Let's make the width factor 0.85, enter, and hit set current, and we'll close that. I just created a text style there. So now I can use that text style to add just plain old text, or I can use it in my attributes, okay? Okay. So now, time for me to add my attributes. Okay. Now, this might confuse you guys a little bit because, well, I'm gonna do what I did really. Now that I think about it, I was gonna do it one way. Now that I think about it, I have to do it another way. I'm gonna do what I did with the door tag. Okay, I want to have a block, a W block that is the title block, and then I'm going to create a second block that will be the information that goes into my title block. All right, so really now the workflow used to be that we created these things, they were all one piece, and that worked because we created them manually, that we changed the text type manually. But now because AutoCAD will automate that for us, we create them separately. It just is what it is, right? So I'll have a block for the title block and I'll have a block for the text. Okay, works. All right, so I am going to, first before I do my text, I'm going to W block this right here. So I'm going to go to Insert, W block, pick point, bottom corner, click, select block, select, enter, convert to block. I'm going to save this out to my block library. And this is going to be called a title block, and this is going to be, I'm just going to make it 8x11 portrait. Okay. Save. Okay. And now I have one title block that has been created. Okay. So I've created the title block, and I'm going to create a second, we'll just start calling it the text block. Okay, I'm going to create my attributes, and then we'll block those, and those will work together. All right, so I'm going to create all the text and all the good stuff in here. One kind of thing that I want to make sure that I do is that I want to make sure that all this text and everything is completely centered where it needs to be, okay? And I might have to draw some lines in here to make that happen. And then when I'm done using them to center the text, I'm going to delete them. Okay, so I'm going to go back to, Insert, and I'm going to click on Define Attribute. Okay, the first one I'm going to do is the Salt Lake Community College. Okay, so I'm going to click on Define Attribute. Okay, this one is going to be visible. All of these are really going to be visible. All right, so we want to see them all. There's not one going to be stacked, you know, above the other. So this one is going to be project name. project name. Okay, default. We're going to leave it just blank. Justification. Oh my gosh, you guys, I got ahead of myself. Sorry. I have to hit escape and bail out of that one. I got ahead of myself because I know now that I'm going to have to place that attribute and I didn't get ready for that. Sorry. I need to go back to home and create a line diagonal across there. Okay, because I can place my text middle center and use that line to place it. All right, and I'm going to do that really in each one of these little spaces. So before I get back into my attributes, I'm going to draw a little line just across each of these so that I can use those lines. That one's a little more tricky. We're going to have to just do that. And then I'll delete them when I'm done. I'm just drawing these lines to be able to use their midpoint. Okay. I'm going to go back to Insert, Define Attribute. Okay. Sorry about that. So the first one's going to be project name, and then project name, and then default will be dash dash. Justification, middle center. Okay, that looks good, that looks good. These look good. I'm going to hit OK. Project name, I'm going to grab the midpoint of that. You see that? Click. And I've just placed my project name attribute. Wonderful. Okay, so now I need to add my Arch 1310. So define attribute. Course number. Course number, default, dash dash. This one's going to be middle center as well. And I don't check this one this time because I'm not placing invisible attributes. So I'm going to hit OK. Click the center, course number. There we go. Now we'll do your name as just regular old text, but I'm going to put in now the project name right here. So it's another attribute. Oop. Project name. I'm hitting tab and I can go between different fields. Tab, right? My text justification, that is going to be middle center again. Okay. And I pick the middle point of this. Click. All right. Here we go. We're going to do 2 more attributes. This one's going to be called scale, tab, scale, tab. And this one you could say, the default could be scale and then a colon, okay? And then you would just type in whatever scale it is. Justification, middle center, okay. Click. Looks good. And then I've got my my date over here. So I'm going to click on define attribute again. Date, and then dash dash, middle center. Okay. Click, and there we go. So now that I have all this defined, I can click and delete each of those lines, right? I was just using them to place the text. In AutoCAD, you see this a lot. You actually draw a lot of geometry to then create geometry. Okay, in Revit, it's a little bit different. The workflow is different, but you see this all the time in AutoCAD. I'm going to add my name here, and I could use an attribute. That totally valid. If you want to do that, great, right? I can also just go to annotate, and I can choose my text option here, okay? And I'm going to type in text, which will create a single line piece of text. Enter. And I'm going to, down here it says start point or justify. Click justify. Middle center again, MC. See that? Click. Specify the middle point of your text. Click. Enter, and I can type my name. Okay. Delete. Look how pretty that is, right? If your mom walked by, she'd be like, look at that. Look how nice that looks, right? Okay, so now I'm gonna block these attributes. We'll call this the information text, right? The information block. So we have two different blocks that create the title block. We have the outline drawing, and then the second block will just consist of all of this text in the form of attributes. And the reason, again, why we have to have two is because of the annotative quality of AutoCAD now. We want that text to flex and to move and be the right size, okay, depending on the scale that you use. All right, so now I'm going to block this out. So I'm going to click on Insert, W block, okay, and I'm going to choose a pick point, which will just be this bottom corner here. So if I click there to place it, all the text falls right in line. Click, select objects, click, so 1, 2, and let me just say this, the order in which you select your attributes is the order in which they appear in the attribute definition box. So if I click on you know, like project name and then course number, it'll go project name, course number, you know, as you fill in the attribute box. I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to hit OK. Oops, excuse me, sorry. I need to tell AutoCAD where it needs to go. This is going to be called, we have our title block 8.5 by 11 portrait, and here, yep, and here I'm just going to do underscore text. I'm going to hit save, OK, and now my attributes engage, right? They activate. So the project name here is going to be Salt Lake Community College, tab, course number, Arch 1310, tab, project name, office layout, scale is going to be whatever the scale ends up being, right? Maybe it's like 1/2 of an inch is equal to 1 foot 0 inches. And then the date, we'll just put today's date in. Oh, Veterans Day, right? November 11th, 2019. And it fills it all in very nicely. Okay? Okay, so this is how you would create all of your title blocks. You're going to have 4 of them, okay? But just like your doors and your windows, you don't have to create them all from scratch, right? Essentially, I have 2 title blocks that are going to be the same size and have the same attributes for my 8.5 by 11, but one is going to be portrait and one's going to be landscape, right? So for this one, I could CO copy, okay, and I could explode this, all right. I'm going to delete out, see how my information block is separate? I'm going to delete that out, but I could rotate this, RO, enter, because that's what it looks like, right? Portrait, landscape. I can grab this and I can explode it. And I say, remember, look, you can do this, but I know it's not easy to remember. You're not very experienced with this, right? Explode. And now I have a portrait title block that's 8.5 by 11. I can reblock this. Go to annotate, insert, right block. Okay, I'm going to choose pick point. I'm going to grab my bottom corner here, click, select your objects, enter, click to where I want it to save, and it's going to have the same name, but instead of portrait, I'm going to change it to landscape. Save. Okay. Now I have title block 1, I have title block 2. Okay. I could create, you know, I can reuse this information block right here, right? So this this text, I could, if I wanted to, I could insert, I'll find my, there's my title block text. I could click and place it and rotate it, click, RO, enter, use this base point as my rotation, and I could rotate it into place, okay, totally valid. Then I double click on it, click, to enter all the information, okay, Or if I wanted to, I could make one that is vertical as well, right? If you wanted to explode that text box and recreate a second block that's vertical, that is wonderful too, right? It just saves that rotation every single time you want to add a title block, okay? So we have title block 1, we have title block 2, and then you're going to have title blocks 3 and 4, and those are going to be 11 by 17, okay? So I would start those title blocks by drawing an outline of an 11 by 17. So this is going to be, we'll do portrait first, 17, enter, 11, enter, 17, enter, close it off, right? You're going to offset in this line. You're essentially going to redraw this, but it's going to be a little bit bigger, right? Because the piece of paper is bigger, right? So instead of this being distance, let me measure it. Instead of this being a 1/2 inch on the 8.5 by 11, because this one is double the size almost, maybe it's an inch, it's offset an inch, right? So you're going to draw your 8.5 by 11, both of them, you're going to draw 2 11 by 17s, okay? I kind of feel like I've been dragging out that I'm going to draw the office layout assignment for a really long time, but I think we actually might need to draw it next time because I think that you guys should get these title blocks all drawn and ready for next time, and I will show you how to use them, and then I'll draw the office layout. And since we'll have almost a whole class period next time to do that, I'll be able to create your textiles in that drawing, add your dimensions, draw the blocks, add the blocks, and draw the layout, okay? And then next week, I still think we're in line to assign your final next week. So I'll assign your final on Monday, but we still have a couple topics to talk about. We still need to talk about external references. We still need to talk about Hatch. So I have a couple lectures, and then really it's just kind of working on your file for the rest, your final for the rest of the semester. Okay. So this assignment won't be due till Wednesday at midnight. I changed that due date last night. So get these title blocks drawn by Wednesday, okay? And then on Wednesday I'll show you how to use them, how to print with them, and we'll draw the assignment in class, okay? Does anybody have any questions about this? Okay, good.